I've never been a huge fan of stuffed peppers. It always seemed a bit too labor intensive for what you get in the end. It's like you have to cook rice and then you have to cook meat and then mix those together and then stuff them into some peppers. Sometimes you have to pre-cook the peppers. It just wasn't really my scene. And that was until I came up with this stuffed pepper recipe. What's so great about it is it cuts all those steps out. Everything happens inside the pepper. I'm gonna start with an onion. And I like to grate the onion because in the spirit of reducing steps, we're not gonna pre-cook the onion. So if you grate it, it means you won't be biting into little bits of raw onion. You can also use a food processor for this part. While I've got the grater out, I'm just gonna use that to grate some garlic in as well. I'm using 3 cloves. Next is ground pork. So I'm using lean ground pork. And then some short grain rice. So it doesn't really matter what kind. This happens to be sushi rice. I do prefer short grain because I want this whole thing to kind of hold together. That's the other benefit of cooking it inside the pepper, is it kind of becomes one nice cohesive mixture. It's like just shy of 1/4 cup of rice. It's 50 grams. And then we're gonna do spices. So cumin, I have 1/2 teaspoon. Ground cumin. A full teaspoon of summer savory. You could also use oregano or thyme, or even dried dill would probably be good. A tablespoon of paprika, just regular old paprika, not smoked, not hot. And then 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And I know I already put garlic in there, but a little bit of garlic powder kind of amps up the flavor. So I'm gonna put a teaspoon of that in too. This is optional. The last thing to chop is a bit of parsley. I've done it without parsley before, but it's kind of nice to have little flecks of green in there. And then the last thing into this mix is 1/2 cup or 125 mils of stock or water. I'm using chicken stock. So this is really necessary because the pork and the rice are both going in raw. And so you're really gonna need that liquid to allow everything to cook inside the pepper. I have yet to come across a stuffed pepper recipe where everything gets cooked inside the pepper. So if you find another one, let me know, but I might be the first. So the mixture is gonna be really wet, and that's what you want. So I just wanna prep the peppers here. I'm just gonna chop the tops off. When I was choosing peppers, I tried to choose ones that stand up on their own. They have a good kind of solid base so that they don't tip over. I've been using this shallow pan covered with tin foil, but I think I'm gonna try it in my Dutch oven today just to see if it works. Chop a good amount of the top off. You want the whole stem to stay intact because this is gonna be the lid as it cooks inside the pepper. If you're fussy about these white bits, you can just actually use a spoon to scoop them out. Works pretty well. I'm a bit fussy about them. I don't really love the white bits. I have 4 peppers here, and that tends to be about right for the amount of mixture I have, but depending on the size of your peppers, you might need fewer or more. I'm gonna hope that this is about right. And then it's just a matter of spooning the mixture into the peppers, making sure it gets all the way into the bottom bits. And you want to fill them just full. You don't want them to be heaped because the rice is going to cook and everything's going to expand. Honestly, that whole process took maybe 10 minutes. And the peppers are about to spend a bunch of time in the oven, but that's passive time. That's time when you can go and watch an episode or 2 of Drag Race, or, you know, have a shower, do whatever you want. I could probably get 1 more pepper out of this. Should I? Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna see if there's 1 more small pepper. It's 1 more little pepper, and I think it'll fit in my pan if I really wedge it in. Oh yeah. So we'll just nestle these all in nicely so they're all standing up. I've got some freshly boiled water here. I'm just gonna pour enough to come up like 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch of the way up. And then I'm gonna put this into an oven that is preheated to 450 degrees. It's really cranked. And I'm gonna let it cook for an entire hour in there. After an hour, I'm gonna take the lid off and then put them back in for another 25 minutes or so just to brown the peppers. Peppers smell amazing. The house smells amazing. If you're into that roasted pepper smell, this is totally for you. I like to serve these roasted peppers with just a simple tomato sauce, straight out of a jar if you want, or a yogurt sauce of some kind, like yogurt, garlic, dill, something like that. I'm just gonna do a basic tomato sauce today. I'm gonna spoon the sauce onto the plate, not onto the pepper, because sauce doesn't really cling to the outside of a pepper very well, so it just ends up being a huge mess. So you definitely want to sauce from the bottom. The easiest way to pick these up is going to be with some kind of slotted spoon. Depending on how hot your oven was, your peppers might be like so tender that they're falling apart a bit. So safer to kind of scoop them from underneath and just plop them right in the sauce. Okay. See how the mixture kind of stays intact? It's not a loose mixture. It's kind of all held together. It's almost like a sausage filling. Yum. Grab a bit of that sauce. It's just tender and juicy inside. The rice is cooked through. The pork is really juicy. It's really flavorful. The pepper is just so soft, it's basically falling apart. I really like it. These peppers are super easy, super delicious. They also keep really well, and they're really good cold, so they're great for packed lunches. There's only 2 of us here right now, and I have 5 whole peppers, and I know that we're just gonna enjoy them throughout the week, which is great. Consider me a stuffed pepper convert. That's it for Operation Stuffed Peppers. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.